Get going. Nice to see everyone. I hope you're all doing well and surviving the energies of this week, because they certainly have been intense. I was sitting quietly before we started, waiting to start, and I was wondering what is going on astrologically, because to be honest, unless it's a full moon or a new moon, or there's some grand conjunction that's happening, I don't really take too much notice of the planets. But I suddenly thought, oh, maybe I should check and see what's happening. And actually today is what they term a square that is happening between Uranus and Jupiter. So I'm sure Elizabeth Rose, who probably knows a lot more about astrology than I do, has a lot more insight into this. My understanding is that it's a clash of these two energies, and a square means it's quite difficult. So these energies we would have already been feeling this week, and leading up obviously into today. And apparently this square only happens every 7 years. So the last time it happened was in 2014. I was trying to remember what was going on in 2014, and I can't. The years just seem to blur one into the next. I can't even remember what happened last year, let alone 2014. So I'll have to think about that a little bit more. But then when I was feeling into, what needs to be shared today, and the insights and the information that was coming to me, there definitely seems to be at the moment a purge that is happening in the collective, and it seems to be in the collective unconscious aspects rather than the collective consciousness. And when I felt into this energy, it's very heavy, and it's pretty dark, and it is the energy that has I think it's the energy that originally created the structures and the forms that the world has been built within. So we are really getting to releasing the core of those structures and releasing the energy that sits behind them, because everything starts energetically. There's nothing that manifests that hasn't begun as energy. So we actually need to clear things on an energetic level before they can actually start to clear on a physical level. So the energy seems to be clearing from the core of these structures and the foundation. So as the stuff is being cleared, so there's energy that is rising to the surface, and it's pretty heavy, and it's pretty dark, and it's pretty nasty. So you may find that at the moment you want to withdraw from the world. I know for myself, I certainly have felt that need to just withdraw, to just keep my own space, to keep very still, to keep very quiet, really focusing on self-care and looking after myself, resting as much as I can, and only really doing what I need to do, versus trying to do everything. And I think it's important that we take note of that, because at the moment, while things are falling apart and collapsing, what is important is that we focus on what we need to be able to do to hold our own light, and to be able to focus on that light. It is not a time where we need to focus on the darkness that is being revealed in the world. It's not a time where we need to get entangled in that. It is a time where we actually need to focus on the positive growth, the evolution that is happening, the healing that we have access to at this time, because there is healing. As this darkness rises to the surface, we get the opportunity to start to see, where are we entangled in it? Where are we connected to it? How is it impacting our lives? How are we still attached to those structures, to those forms of the world as it has been? And we are able to literally start pulling ourselves away from it. And to be able to then pull the energy that we've put into it, pull that energy back, and start holding more of our own energy, more of our own light, and enabling us to be that sovereign being that we've spoken about for weeks, if not months, in our webinars. On a subconscious level, there's a lot of energy moving. There's a lot of shifting that's happening. There's a lot of thinking patterns or thought patterns that are needing to be addressed, that are needing to be worked through and released. As we do so, what I find so incredible as we release the energy or the attachment that we have to the old, we actually create space within ourselves for new energy and new creativity to start emerging within us. So that means we're able to start thinking in a new way. We're able to see things in a different way. Our perspective actually shifts and changes as we pull back our energy. And we're actually able to start looking and finding a way through the chaos rather than trying to navigate ourselves around it, because we can't. How do we exit the planet when everything is going mad? We can't do that. So we have to navigate our way through it. And I think I've said it in one of the daily emails this week, is that we cannot stand still. We cannot wait for all of this to be over. We have to keep moving forward despite the chaos that is erupting around us. Because if we stop and we wait, it's almost like we take the light into this chaos. We take the light through the chaos. And in that way, it's able to dissipate. It's able to lift off us and off everyone else around us. So we do need to keep moving forward and getting things done. Elise has just mentioned been feeling achy all over, but no fever, like purging as of yesterday. Yep. I've also been feeling pretty weird aches and pains, and quite headachy as well over the last few days. I did, much to my own surprise, let alone the people that know me well, I managed to do a 5-day juice cleanse, which was obviously in preparation for everything that's been going on this week. And so, yeah, that really seemed to have helped me manage the energies, is that my body was able to have a rest from all the normal stuff. So that self-care that I spoke about earlier is really important. And I know that, I don't know about any of you, but also not really able to sleep, I'm finding that I'm sleeping, but it's not that deep sleep that we need, that restful sleep. I feel like I wake up every time I turn over. So it is important that we really do care for ourselves on a physical level. There are lots of people, and Nancy's just mentioned as well, only a few hours per night. Yeah, me too. And really waking up early in the morning, sometimes before the birds. That's my favorite. Yeah, so getting back to the purging, I think it's important that we look at ourselves individually. What is it that we need to clear? What is it that we need to release? What are the attachments that we're still holding on to? Once we can become clear of those things, you'll find that it's so much easier to just let them go, because they are no longer relevant to your life or even the person that you are today. They're relevant to a past life and someone that you were in the past. You're not that person any longer. But only once we become aware of these attachments and we become aware of the energy that we've put in, are we able to recognize that it's even still there. So I've been looking, certainly taken this week, and really looked at the things in my own life and in myself that I'm still attached to, my energy, where I've placed my energy where it perhaps isn't appropriate anymore, that it's time to pull back, it's time to pull away. And looking at how I can do that without destabilizing myself or my environment. Because that is also the other thing, is that we're supposed to be moving through this time of being able to do things in a way that shows compassion and kindness and gentleness, not confrontation and aggression and anger, which is what a lot of this energy that is surfacing from the collective is feeling like. It's feeling like the anger and the confrontation. And it's quite fiery. So it is really important that we meet that with a sense of gentleness and compassion and kindness for ourselves and everyone else around us. And as we do that, it's actually what we are then able to do is align in a deeper way and on a more physical way with our soul, with our soul's energy, and to be able to utilize that energy in moving through all of this chaos, moving through all of this darkness. I see we've got a few new people joining us. I think that's Fiona's joining us from an airport somewhere with a mask on her face. Nice to see you. Okay. Yeah, so as we align with ourselves on a physical level and with our soul on a physical level, there's more energy that we can utilize to move forward, creating the life that we need to create through this time and through this chaos. And I was told earlier as well that the meditation that we're going to do today is really, really important, and hopefully something that we can focus on in the next couple of weeks as we move into the end of January and February. There are a lot of shifts and changes that are coming. I think that if we thought that 2021 was going to be an easier year than 2020, I'm not so sure that it's turning out that way. I think that last year gave us a bit of a fright, in the sense that, you know, everything came to a standstill. Life did not continue the way, well, everything came to a pause and a standstill, and life did not continue in the way that it was. And I think we all hoped, or most of us hoped, that it would change this year and we would start to be able to do things differently, but it's not turning out that way. And there's certainly the sense that I have is there's a lot of shifting that's happening this month. But that shifting doesn't necessarily look positive because of the chaos that it is creating. And as we move closer to February, there's going to be more of that emerging within ourselves, and more of that emerging within the collective. So we do need to focus on how do we support ourselves moving through this time? What do we need to do? For me, it's about maintaining the basics. If I'm feeling tired, rest. If I'm hungry, eat. If I'm needing exercise, do exercise, but make sure it's gentle exercise. We're working hard on other levels, and it really is difficult to be physical in these times. So really do the basics to maintain your energy levels and to maintain your sanity at times. It certainly, it feels like it's energetically difficult to remain stable and strong and connected. I don't know about any of you, I'm even been struggling this week to meditate. It just almost feels like the energy is just too heavy and I can't find my way out of it. And I've also been finding that I've had to cleanse, smudge my house a few times just to lift the energy, even though I live on a mountain and in a beautiful space, and I don't really feel like I'm living in a city. This heaviness is definitely permeating through everywhere. So I'm finding that I'm having to cleanse and clear and smudge my space far more often than I normally do. I'm also finding with clients there's a lot of heavy energy that is coming to the surface, a lot of sadness, a lot of grief, a lot of anger, a lot of feelings of I think feelings that have been suppressed and haven't been acknowledged. I'm seeing those feelings rising to the surface and needing to be cleared and worked through. So there's a lot of shifting that is happening in us, and there's a lot of stuff happening with everyone else. We may be a little bit more conscious of it and aware of what's happening, but it doesn't necessarily mean that no one else is going through it. There are other people commenting here. Lorraine said she's also had to do a lot of energy clearings this week. It's taking twice as long to get into deep meditation. Yeah. Yeah. Anyone else have anything they'd like to share? Elizabeth Rose, I don't know if you'd like to share something around this Uranus and Jupiter square that's happening at the moment. If you know anything more about it, that you can shed some light on it.
Yeah, certainly. Thank you. The Uranus energy has been really like dragging us down and in all week, hasn't it? And almost to the point that, you know, we can't keep our I mean, I felt at times like this, but then knowing that the energy was shifting this weekend, I think it was a really good week to actively go into your shadow, as you were saying. I've been doing it all week. It's been a lot easier and quicker to do that this week than, say, you know, tail end of last year. When I was doing it last year, it was so time consuming. This week, bam, in, done, out, you know, rest, on to the next. So it was a series of that for me all week. And consequently, once we got past the new moon, I was sleeping like a baby. But it was dragging down heavy, and Uranus will win. So we've got this square with Uranus and Jupiter. And again, Uranus is the more powerful. I mean, Jupiter's putting up a good fight here, but Uranus is the more powerful. So what does that mean? A square, there has to be a breakthrough. There has to be a solution, a turning point. And Uranus will either awaken, inform, or destroy that which is holding you back. And in relation to, so it's in relation to Jupiter, so it's abundance, success, wisdom, joy of life, how we're living, lifestyle, well-being. And actually, once now it's shifted, I'm personally feeling the energy is really fantastic, and we've got forward motion planets now across the board for the next couple of weeks. So you can feel all of a sudden you've been pulled back and down, and now you're being pushed forward, and I'm finding that quite invigorating, actually. So not that we can do much, we're all locked down, but we can set our sights. I feel it's a clearing of the mental fields very strongly. That's what I'm getting.
Thank you. I mean, you know, as you were speaking, I was thinking it's a bit like for anyone who's been in the ocean and dumped by a wave. You know, that wave comes, you can almost see it coming, you can feel it pulling you, and suddenly it's taken you over and you're rolling in the water and you don't know which way is up or which way is down. It certainly feels like that's what's happened the last week. And that, you know, with this today, it feels like, you know, we finally found our feet on the ground and we're heads out of the water, but we're still feeling a little bit disorientated. I mean, that is yeah, that is brilliant explanation. Thank you so much.
Hi, Kate.
Hi, Nancy. How are you doing?
I had a tough week. The aunt I've been telling you guys about passed away Friday morning, and she's at peace, and that's good. And the cousin I've been telling you, we didn't get great news. The doctors are telling the family they're moving her to skilled nursing to get stronger. But I deal with enough medical people to know that they're just moving her to a nursing home. And they told her about her mom. They did let her go, my cousin go in and tell her, but she didn't even, you know, have any reaction. And so that was all very sad. And, you know, of course, this country is just friggin' nuts with the inauguration, and they're saying all 50 capitals, and I live in the capital city, a couple miles from the Capitol building. Not that I'm just trying to dismiss, because they're saying no credible threat to Massachusetts. We're the bluest state in the country. I can't imagine they could be too bothered with us, but just this feeling, and I'm glad it isn't just me. I mean, I've just been so sad. Now, obviously, my aunt, and I might have said it before in this group, my mother loved me, but she didn't always like me. But my aunt adored me. She just loved me and accepted me and loved my crazy stories about talking to, you know, when I saw her priest's mother up on the altar after she died, she made me go see the priest and tell him about, you know, she just loved my stories. And And so, and my cousin was one of those people in life, were always going to be there. So I feel really strongly like, I know there's a lot of people leaving the planet right now, but for me, those were really two cornerstones in my life. And so in this heavy energy, but like I said, I thought that was me. I'm glad it is not that I want the rest of you to suffer with me, but because I just haven't been able to move. And yesterday I finally did get up and do a task. I scrubbed the hell out of my kitchen floor. I won't tell you how long it took me. But now I'm looking around and going, because I spend so much time in here. Oh, yeah, that made me feel better. So anyway, the funeral's wakes Thursday, funeral Friday. I don't know when I'm gonna go to the funeral because they're gonna socially distance, and I don't know about the wake. Whatever. So it's just so much. And I've started to lose track of how many. I literally was trying to count the number of people that have died since we've all been meeting, and I'm losing track of them. That's how many I've lost. So anyway, prayers for the family, and for me, because I just can't wrap my head around the fact that my cousin, she was my bestie, that I'm never gonna, and I guess I'll just end on this. You never really know what the last conversation you're gonna have with somebody is, like we had a normal conversation just before she had the stroke. And I don't even know if you'd want to know when the last conversation you're going to have with somebody is. And anybody who's lost somebody they love probably, like it wasn't like I left 20 things unsaid. She knew how I felt about her. And I don't know that she'll never come back, but I don't think it looks good, But anyway, that's all. I couldn't wait for this group to meet because I've just been feeling so lost, So anyway, I appreciate everybody.
Oh, Nancy, sending you lots of love, and I'm really sorry to hear about your aunt and your cousin. It is sad.
Actually, I have one fun story about it. Years ago, probably about 18 years ago, I lost my first cat, and she was my baby. I was devastated. And my aunt got me a little Lennox cat, and it had my birthstone hanging around its neck, and my cat's name was Fern, and she had Fern painted on this Lennox cat. And I have glass shelves everywhere, as you've seen some of it, and it was on a shelf out in the living room about 6 feet off the ground with a lot of other pieces of glass. And about an hour after I heard that she died, I was sitting here and I heard this thump, and I thought somebody had thrown a package up on my porch. And I got up and I went out. There was nothing there and whatever. And later on the day, I'm looking at the shelf and thinking, where'd the cat go? The cat had fallen off the shelf 6 or 7 feet up, didn't break. And I couldn't help but think that was her saying goodbye, because it was just something really special she did for me. Anyway, I thought that was kind of funny.
I like that. I'm glad that she made herself known before she left. And interesting that you say, wondering about the last conversation that you had with people. I've also been wondering what the last conversation was that I had with my brother. And sadly, it wasn't a very good conversation, I have to say. Not something that if I had known that it was the last one, not something that I would have wanted to have had. Not a conversation I would have wanted to have had. So.
Kate, can I go a little off topic here and ask Jennifer where she is, where Fiona is, and say, Pam, we've missed you and I'm so glad to see you back here.
Yay, is Pam back?
Yep, Pam's back.
Pam's back. Oh,
Where are you, Jennifer?
Good morning, everyone. Afternoon. I'm back in Iowa. So we made it safe and sound. And um, the happiest thing was the reunion with the pups, especially our um, bouncing 5-month-old huge puppy. He grew like twice his size from before we left. So that's been good. But yeah, happy to be back and wondering where Fiona is. Where are you traveling to?
I might have to answer for Fiona. She is in. She's been in France for a few days, and she's on her way back to London. She's been working. She's hoping she's going back. There's a lot of protocol, and I don't. I think you probably had to have had a COVID test and a whole lot of other things. Not yet, no. Are you just hoping you're going to get through there? Well, we'll send you good vibes to get you through the other side.
The airports are quite an experience, I think, right now. I see Fiona's double masked. That's good. Yeah, the travel is a different experience these days for sure. I wanted to say I absolutely agree 100% with what Elizabeth Rose said about the wave. Oh my goodness. One of the first days in Hawaii, I was, and I may have shared this story before, let me know if I did, but I was foolishly lying on my back in the water, staring at the clouds in the sky, and this enormous rogue wave came over, and I was just tumbled like a little stone in the water. And as I was tumbling, I just remembered to release and surrender to it completely. And that um, um, lifted the fear and the heaviness, and especially during this time with all of the heaviness that we're all feeling, that kind of surrender has really helped. I have to remind myself often to do it, but it really does lift and help quite a bit. So yeah, it's just such a reminder of the power, the power of the planet, the power of the universe, the power of all of that, and that we're tumbling around in the midst of it, and that's that. But it's not bad. It's not bad. Surrendering to that power um, almost feels joyful in this interesting way.
But isn't it, thank you for mentioning that joyful bit, because I think that surrendering means we let go of control. And when we stop trying to control everything, we are free. We don't have to then try and make things happen or do things in a particular way. There's freedom in that, because we just allow life to unfold in the way that it is meant to unfold, rather than trying to force it into the way we think it should be.
Yes, I think that's key. I had a conversation with a dear friend of mine yesterday who's really in the midst of a lot of grief and sorrow, having lost her husband of over 50 years and dealing with that in the midst of the pandemic. And the way she lost him was just really horrific. And in the midst of that conversation, we were both realizing that when we are experiencing these things, this massive loss of control, it's hard to feel the joy poking through unless we surrender.
I like what Elizabeth Rose has written here. She says, surrender allows us to stop playing God. Yeah.
And I think from the next few years with COVID and all the changes that it's brought with us, we are going to have to learn to surrender a lot, because using your same analogy there, Jennifer, have you ever tried to resist that wave? You get dumped really, really. And that is, hopefully we will surrender quickly and not get ourselves dumped too often.
Yeah. I think these way I'm looking forward to the next, is it in February that we have all of these planets that are moving through Aquarius? I think they're going to be 7 planets in Aquarius. So I think that's going to be an interesting time. I like the Aquarian energy. I think the Aquarians are often some of my favorite people, just because they see things differently and they view the world in a different way, more so than normal other people. So I think that these waves are certainly going to be flooding through us, or flooding through the collective. And I think if we can allow ourselves to flow with them rather than try and resist them or control them or direct them even, we just let it happen and let go of whatever is being, if there's resistance, if there's holding on, that's where we suffer, that's where we struggle. And if we can just allow ourselves to surrender, allow ourselves to let go, and move with it, we move through it far faster than if we are holding on. As Elizabeth Rose said, for her, she's already feeling that she's come through it. She's on the other side and she's feeling that energy is something positive now. I'm not quite there yet. I'm still feeling a little bit dragged under.
To be honest, I would say I have fully retreated. I didn't even put my bins out last week because I wouldn't go outside when everybody else was around. I mean, I'm not phobic about the virus. I was literally, no, I'm not going out. I'm not going out there. And I'm dodging all the bullets around the family and, everything else. So it's easier when you're not triggered to feel. But the energy is definitely shifting. And the more you go, I'm finding the more you go into your shadow and just kick out what's coming up, then actually it's really working with us. And that's what that square is all about, yeah. The other thing is just to say that we've got Mars in Taurus, which for a lot of people is going to feel aggravating. And Uranus is there as well. So Uranus and Mars are having a real party right now. And so the aggravation has got even more assertiveness behind it. And so that's what's making people put it in your face, or you put it in other people's faces. And that will peak. That is growing and growing and growing like a crescendo that will peak on the 20th. And then after that, that bit will be done.
Oh, good. I'm glad to see something will be done. We can hang in there till the 20th. I also like what you wrote here. The key with the Aquarian energy is to get knowing into action. Knowing isn't enough. Yes. And I mean, that's where I actually like Mars in Taurus, because I think that Mars in Taurus, it's on the planet. It's that action. It's moving. It's earthly. It's connected to the earth rather than, thinking or feeling. So it is about taking action. Pat's also written here. She said, I heard something earlier this week that really resonated. We're experiencing and witnessing a funeral energetically. Yeah.
Hi, Kate.
Hi, Anita.
Hi. Yeah, I mean, I'm feeling a lot of what, you and a lot of the others have said. Definitely that feeling of wanting to go very much within, like you and Elizabeth Rose. I've been feeling very much the same, but in such a positive, sort of constructive way. It's like, yes, this is what I must do. I know I've got to do it. Not in a not in a shrinking way, in an empowering way, even. Yeah. And just kind of very focused. So that focus on my work is so strong. And actually it's a relief after 2020. Yes, I had wonderful spurts of it, but now it's feeling a lot more stable, a lot more steady, that focus. And also definitely that thing about your shadow coming up, and as you face it, feeling better is so strong right now. I mean, just doing, well, you know, that I won't go into it, but the exercise, the letting go of fears exercise, right? And I'm only halfway through. In other words, I've kind of written all my thing and I still have to let everything go. But it's amazing how just voicing what my fears are, the process has already started. It's amazing. I felt it almost releasing as I wrote it. So as I think of a fear, it starts releasing. It's amazing. It's and just also the very positive stuff about that Aquarian energy becoming stronger and stronger is so beautiful. And I feel like it's very connected to basically the fifth dimension becoming such a big part of life. And I read this one sort of meme thing on whatever, Insta or something, like something about the fifth dimension is not something in the real world, it's a state of mind. And it's so, that's becoming stronger and stronger in me. And I'm finding there's little glimpses, even in dreams, where I'm in a dream and I'm with people and we're all going, yeah, this is so cool. This is the fifth dimension. I'm like, I know, I don't want to leave. And then I wake up, but still, it's a very beautiful feeling. And even my sort of relationship with my guides, my team, when I talk to them, it's almost like they're closer. It's like, I don't know, the whole thing is becoming just like they're more fifth out. I'm more closer to them. Everything's just becoming closer, which is, it's really beautiful. Yeah, it's really encouraging. Yeah, lots of work still, but feels like progress.
I think it's also, Anita, I'm going to share a little bit of the exercise that Anita's working on is an exercise from one of the courses that she's doing. And it's in this particular exercise, you actually name your fears. And in the naming of them, recognize how often they are very ridiculous. They hold no weight and they aren't real or even true. And as a result of that, it makes it far easier to let them go. So it might be, worth it to be able to look into the shadow aspects of ourselves. What underlies all of those shadow parts of us is fear. So if we can, become aware of what the fear is, we become aware of what the shadow is. And often our reactions to life, our reactions to situations happen because that fear is triggered and we go into reactionary mode. So if you're looking for some exercises to do, that's an exercise that you can consciously do to work with what is surfacing, rather than waiting for it to smack you over the back of the head. I always think it's far better to go willingly into these things rather than have the universe decide that it needs to be delivered now. Okay, has anyone else got anything else they'd like to share? Any questions? Just checking, making sure that I've managed to cover everything that I said made out today. Okay. I think of anything I could share it with you later.
Hey, Kate,
hi, Nancy.
One more thing. What does everybody think about? Does this Aquarian energy you're talking? I always sense peace comes with that, because things have been anything but peaceful of late. I guess I'm looking for something optimistic to look forward to in 2021.
Well, Nancy, I wish that I could tell you that there's going to be peace. I think that the peace is something that we need to find within ourselves. One of the things that I love about our weekly webinars is that for me, it feels like a space of peace. I feel like all of us connecting, all of us being able to share, feeling the way that we feel, and having that acknowledged and recognized and supported makes this a space that is really powerful and peaceful and beautiful. And I'm actually trying to figure out how to create more of this. How do I create more of this for myself and for other people? You know, how do we create communities and support groups where we can actually connect and find a level of stability in that connection, because I actually don't know where I would have been without all of you this past year. I think it would have been incredibly lonely, and I'm not necessarily a person that needs people. I like my own company and I like being on my own, and I've got no problem with that, but I really think I may have felt incredibly lonely this year without this. So I think that's where our focus needs to be, is we're the ones that need to create that space of peace. And finding ways to do that.
I agree completely. And thinking about that Aquarian knowing into action, I think that the kind of action that we're called to is going to be a different kind of action. And part of that is these very deep and meaningful, peace-filled connections we have with each other. That's different. That's different than what we've experienced before. Thinking about how we are in action in that way, I think will bring about that peace.
I agree. And sometimes that action is just showing up. You don't have to do anything. It's just showing up. Elizabeth Rose.
Kate, I think that, oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I think that the group actually provides sort of a stillness. You know, by the end of the week, when you're like frantically not too sure whether you're up or down, or like you were talking earlier about going into hermit mode, whether you should or shouldn't, and you suddenly realize that even if you are in hermit mode, there is this moment in that week, whichever week it is, whatever's been happening, where you can come to a stillness, a deep breath, so to speak. So yeah, if you're able to do that to a lot more groups, then a lot more stillness and calm in the world we can put together. I hope you are able to do a lot more.
Okay. Elizabeth Rose has written, I think what you were saying before about visualizing sacred space between us and what is troubling us. My father's passing taught me to surrender and hold a lot more space around myself. I learned the same thing with my brother. So suddenly it was okay to have that space. There's a message from Joni, who recently joined us. She's been on a couple of webinars. She's written, yeah, I've not been on this group for long and still finding my feet, yet this has really become a space where I do a lot of learning and growing. Like Megan says, where I can find my breath again. Yeah, I think it is becoming that for all of us. And I'm incredibly grateful for it. Hi, Lorraine.
Hey, I was just going to add to what Jennifer was saying. I think the thing that's been special about this group to me is that we just all came together with really not from all different places, different kinds of people, different backgrounds. But I think what makes it different is that our hearts are connected. You know, this is a place where you go and you have that heart connection without really, I mean, that's our bond. So I just think that it's very different from other groups that I've been involved in. So, and special, I've enjoyed it.
I agree. I think, one of the things that I've been observing with what we do every week, and there was no intention that I had with starting this group. None. There was just a thought of, this is what I need to do. I didn't know what it was going to become. I didn't think about it. I didn't plan it. I didn't. And I think Megan asked me, have you gone back to watch the first one? I never want to watch the first one again, because I was so nervous before we started, because I had no idea what I was doing. And I had no vision. I had nothing. I just had this feeling that this was something that we wanted to start. So I'm definitely not going to go and watch myself being all awkward. But I think it's also, in that way, we've allowed it to become what it has needed to be. And I think it will continue to evolve and to grow and to become exactly what we need at each week, at each time. And through each phase that we're going through.
What you did, Kate, was to invite. That's huge.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about it that way. Yeah. And that links to that beautiful invitation poem by Araya Mountain Dreamer. If you guys didn't get it, I think I sent it on my New Year's daily email. But if you didn't get it, just go and Google the invitation by Araya Mountain Dreamer. It's an incredible poem, and an incredible book that she wrote from that poem. Yeah, that poem is something I had stuck up for many, many years above my desk. Kept me going and kept me motivated. All right, everyone. I think it's time for us to...
And every group needs glue. And you really are the glue that keeps us all coming back. So.
Oh, Nancy, I think you might be a bit of that glue too. I think you all are, really. Okay. So get into a comfy spot if you can. I think we're going to have to say goodbye to Fiona. She's not going to have time to meditate with us. Have a safe trip, and I hope you let me know when you get home. Bye. Okay. So just allow yourself to settle into the space that you're in. And then closing your eyes, focus your awareness on your breath. And just allow yourself to breathe deeply in and out. Allowing yourself to let go of any stress, any worries, any concerns. Really just allow yourself to settle into the space that we are creating together. The space we have created together. And just allowing your body to relax and let go of any tension that you're holding onto in your body. Especially at this time as we are moving through these intense waves of energy. Just really allow yourself to breathe into your body. to breathe into those spaces of discomfort and pain. And then move your awareness down to your feet and just becoming aware of the connection that you have to the earth through your feet. And then moving your awareness to your crown. And becoming aware of the connection that you have to the divine through the crown. And now imagining the golden light above your head. And as you focus on the golden light, allow that light to become a stream of energy that moves in through the crown of your head. And begins to move slowly down your body. Moving through the energy of your different chakras. And as it begins to move down the center of your body, the light permeates outwards and expands into the body. Helping to clear and release the blockages that you may be carrying on a physical level. Now allow this golden light to expand beyond the body and into your energy field that surrounds you. Moving through the levels and layers of your energy field, allow it to cleanse and to clear anything that needs to be released at this time. And feeling yourself becoming lighter. And now in your mind's eye, I want you to visualize yourself stepping out and into a field. It seems to be dusk or dawn. The light is hazy. But you can see the glow of a fire up ahead, and you begin to walk towards this fire. And you notice that there are others that are walking towards the fire. And you see that the people that have joined you are all of us. And we begin to form a circle around the fire. And as you look about, you notice that everyone glows with a golden light. And as we stand in this circle, the golden lights begin to join and connect. The light grows stronger. The fire burns brighter. And the light just continues to grow and expand, moving beyond the circle, expanding upwards and outwards. And with this expansion, you can see the light dissolving the dark, dissolving the shadows, dissolving the heaviness seems to be in the earth and around the earth at this time. You feel your heart opening and expanding. Feeling the joy of this connection that we have. Feeling the support. Feeling the unity and the oneness. And not only is this light expanding outwards, but it is expanding within you too. The light reminds us that at our core we are joyful, creative beings. That despite external events, challenges or situations, we have the strength, the capacity, and the energy available to move through this time. We're reminded that this is a time of unity, of community, and that we are not here to do this alone. So allow yourself to draw strength from the group. To feel supported. To feel held. To feel accepted. And to feel loved. And when you're ready, just taking a deep breath and breathing yourself back into this time, into this space, and into your physical body. Just take a few deep breaths, move your fingers and your toes, and you can open your eyes when you're ready. Okay, so yeah, that was pretty powerful.
I would even call it magical. Thank you, Kate. That was amazing.
Good. It was. It really was. And hopefully in that meditation we were able to feel a little bit restored and ready for the week ahead. I think if we can remember that we are not doing this alone, I think for many of us, it has been a time where we felt alone and that we're the only ones out there, but thankfully we're not. We're all in this together. So thank you all for accepting the invitation and for being here. I really do appreciate you all, and I'm so grateful that you make the time each week, because it is such a special time for me too. It's good to have some of you who've been missing the last few weeks back. All right, everyone, have a brilliant week, and keep going. See you all next week. Lots of love.